Your next step is going to be to submit the evidence up front to the VA along with your initial package submission. Okay. So at this point, all you've done is submit an intent to file to the VA. That's it. But now that you've gathered all this information and you got your file locked and cocked, now it's time to actually get it submitted to the VA for them to make a decision. Now, the reason that it's important, I think, that you do it this way, and it's exactly how I did it, is that by doing that, whenever that rater gets your file, they're looking at your application for submission for the claim. They're looking at all your supporting evidence, your diagnosis, everything else that supports your claims, your lay statements, your buddy statements, your service treatment records, if you're in service events, all the information around your in-service events that justify the claim condition. They're looking at all that. And if you give it to them up front at one time in your initial submission, you make it extremely easy for them to be able to review that information and make a decision versus having to look at the information, put a pause on it, and then come back to you for additional information, which just delays the whole process. The best way to go about it is to do it clean, all up front, and cover all the bases possible before actually filing the claim with the VA. The more complete your claim is, the less development delay that you will have and the less likely of mistakes being made. Remember, junk in will equal junk out. And don't have the mindset that the VA is going to figure this all out for you. I'm going to submit my application. They already know all about me. They're going to look at my files and they're going to understand that I was in this particular situation or that, and these events had to cause this. They're not going to do any of that, okay? All they're going to do is look at the evidence you submit to them. I can't say it enough. That's why it's important that you organize it and make it easy for them. They're going to look at that evidence. They're going to make a determination. They do have a duty to assist in certain situations, but make it easy for them to say yes and extremely hard for them to say no, you're denied. Now, once you've done all this legwork, everything now is submitted to the VA, okay? Your next step is going to be to start preparing for your CMP exams. You already know what claim conditions that you filed for. So speak with your accredited VSO, your accredited attorney, whoever you got representing you, or if you're doing it yourself, go out and do research on the claim condition that you have. Do research on what the CMP exams are likely going to be about for those claim conditions. That way there you understand what to expect. You understand the language that's appropriate to make sure you're conveying the proper information to the examiner. And that way everybody then understands your severity and gets a clear perspective on how you should be rated within each one of those conditions. And it's important to be honest, be consistent, and be specific about the frequency, severity, and the functional impacts of your conditions. Don't exaggerate, but don't minimize either, because your rating will be based largely on what is documented in this CMP exam. Now, I do have other videos on CMP exams specifically. I recommend you go watch those. I'll try to remember to put one down in the description of this video. Watch that, get prepared, and make sure that you understand what needs to happen when you go into your exam. So after you've submitted it, you can monitor your claim by going to VA.gov. You'll need to set up an account if you hadn't already done so. It's a verified account through the federal government. It'll walk you through the process. But from there, you will be able to sign in. You'll be able to see where the claim status is. I will be the first to tell you it's not the most transparent, but it does at least give you something you can look at to understand to some extent where you currently are. You're going to want to respond quickly to any kind of development letter request that you get, any request for any kind of supporting evidence. Don't ignore those requests. And make sure that you keep copies of everything that you submit to the VA that is associated with your claim, and keep it in an organized manner, not just for throughout the claim process, but for any time in the future as well, if you're ever called back in for a routine future exam, or if a proposed reduction is sent to you, for example. Now, the average processing times on getting your VA claim done varies due to many different circumstances, okay? But if you make sure your file is organized, you make sure it's simple to understand and follow, and you fortify your file with sound evidence that is directed toward the appropriate claim condition to where the VA rater can quickly see your evidence, understand what it's associated with. What you do is this makes it hard for the rater to say denied and makes it easier for the rater to say approved. That's your goal. So if you file your initial claim correctly, you do reduce your chance of denial and you increase your chance of a proper rating on the first attempt. This process is all about preparation, not speed, but you must hit the 1 year deadline if you're filing an intent to file to make sure that you do preserve the effective date that is identified by the intent to file. Talk to your accredited VSO, your accredited attorney on that issue so that you understand what date you have to have everything to them to get submitted to the VA on your behalf. Hey, if you found today's video useful, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, put a like on the video so to send it out to more veterans. And as always, I appreciate you watching. I'm Mike, and I'll see you in the next episode.